The story for The Ark in Space is the TARDIS lands on a space station orbiting the Earth in the distant future. It's seemingly deserted, but the Doctor, Sarah Jane, and Harry soon discover that they are not alone. Thousands of humans, the only survivors of the human race, are in cryogenic sleep, and while they slept, their Ark has been invaded. A parasitic insect, the Riran, have taken control and threatens the very future of mankind. Now, before I continue on with the story, I didn't talk about it in the last story because this character was more of a helper before becoming a companion. Now this character is a companion because he's at the end of the last episode he entered the TARDIS, and now he comes out of the TARDIS with Sarah Jane and the Doctor in his very first adventure through the TARDIS, and that is Harry Sullivan. In the last story, Robot, he was introduced as just a Navy doctor, and he actually aided the Doctor. He was actually supposed to be watching the Doctor because of the transformation, see if he's alright. But he also aided the Doctor throughout the whole thing. He was kind of like an aide, like the Brigadier is, to help him through the mission. But now he's technically a companion. He's actually traveling with the Doctor and Sarah Jane, and this character is one of the more human characters. He's kind of like the opposite of Sarah Jane. He's not degrading men or anything, but he's just he's not all that strong and buff, you know. He's actually quite nervous. He actually gives some humorous moments, but he does rise to the challenge when things happen, and he does have medical knowledge. He's more of a doctor, you know. If anybody's hurt, he can look at them, you know, take care of them, this and that. Which comes in handy in this story because when they enter the cryogenics chamber, people start waking up, and Harry's the one that helps them revive them. I mean, he first helps revive the head medical chief of the space station. The medical chief shows him how to do what needs to be done to awaken everybody. So that was his little step. But he also does other things as well. And he's actually a pretty good companion so far. I mean, the last story, he was very helpful. You know, he was there for the Doctor. He understood everything. You know, got everything going. This one, since he's just confounded by everything, he's still able to do his job. He's he's like he's kind of like not really a sidekick, but he's just like a good, not really a good word, I can't think of a good word. It's just, I guess I could say, it's just a good companion, like a basic companion that does what needs to be done, and is a good somebody for Sarah Jane to talk to also, because, you know, it's another human to interact with, to understand what that'd be like, you know, what the fuck is the Doctor talking about, what's going on here, you know, so it's somebody she can relate to. I guess that's what I'm looking for. She's relatable. He is relatable for Sarah Jane. Now, the story for Ark in Space is very cool. It's very interesting, and not to get it confused with the first Doctor story called The Ark, where it was about humans being transferred all the way to a distant planet because Earth has become uninhabitable. This story is much different. This one, humans stayed orbiting Earth, waiting for it to be, you know, habitable again. Although this was before, technically I would say this one's before The Ark, because in The Ark the Earth was being blown up. So that's why they left. Well, this is, I guess, sometime way beforehand. The Earth, you know, became uninhabitable, so they left, waited, went in cryogenical sleep, and then awoke when it was time for it to be, you know, habitable again. And I guess many centuries later they leave because it's going to blow. So, just a little thought of timeline there. The design of the spaceship is very well done. Although it says it's the 70s, I can't help but think of every science fiction movie in the 70s, and also in particular Alien. Especially with the way the story is written, kind of has that alien feel with like the xenomorph picking off people one by one. That's kind of how it's happening with this one. It was just the Wirren are just killing people one by one, so that, you know, there's a lot of there's some scares, you know, unexpected, you know, shocks, and it was pretty good. I liked it. This is an old thing to us because we have it everywhere, but at the time, bubble wrap was very new. It was a new thing. Nobody knew what it was. So there's parts where some people, you know, there's a giant slug that slithers around that's basically someone wrapped in bubble wrap, dyed green. And one point, then one of the people, Noah, the character Noah, gets infected and slowly turns into a Wirren. And at first, his hand is just basically a slug-like thing, but the thing is, though, it's just his entire arm covered in bubble wrap. Yes, and now it looks very, very silly. I admit that. Yes, it's silly, it's cheesy, but at the time, think of it at the time this was something new. So for its time, that was weird, that was scary, that was creepy, that was like shocking. Now it's just, my God, that's cheesy. So, Uh, but it does give the look of an alien feel and look like something unhuman. Although Noah's transformation into a Weirin is creepy though over time, because first it's just the arm, but then it's just like half of his body is kind of like Hunchback of Notre Dame looking, and he's covered in green. It's like his arm is no longer bubble wrap; it's kind of like this weird green mildewy stuff, and he's kind of it's just kind of, it just gets creepy. And then his final transformation is the creepiest, where he fades into the Weirin. And the Weirin themselves are very interesting bug-like insects that you can see right here. Now, this is pretty much what they look like. And it's just creepy. Yes, it's just basically when you're looking at them, though, it's people like moving them on a puppet or something like that, or people in suits moving them around. But just the look of them is pretty dang creepy. It's scary. It was kind of well designed. It's just because of the times they were limited at what they could do, so it was just basically looking like puppets moving around. There wasn't much animatronics in them or anything. But it was still creepy enough just to look at it, particularly the way the shadows are on them, and that, just the way they moved and the shadows. It was creepy. But I thought it was also interesting how they use the insects from real Earth for inspiration for these, because they actually infect people with their own larvae. Then the larvae as they hatch, eat the people and whatever for food, and then grow up to be Weirins. So I thought that was interesting that they used inspiration from insects on Earth for these. What was also an interesting plot twist was the reason why the Weirin are invading the Ark is because the people of Earth at one point had invaded Andromeda and destroyed the Weirin home, and so the Weirins had to leave, and now the Weirins are invaded the Ark to make a new home. So that was an interesting plot twist. It was like, because of humanity's ignorance and selfish need, the Weirins came over and wanted a new home. So that was pretty interesting. The Tom Baker's Doctor is now more developed, because now he has had a few episodes to really get to know his character, get into his character, and really develop it. You can see there's more progress, so that he's actually really fit into his shoes more. So he's really got the character almost completely down, if not really, really down. And so he's able to really look at things in character, and like there's this one point when, before everybody wakes up in the cryogenics chamber, Tom Baker has this monologue moment where he's just describing humanity. He's like, Homo sapiens, living forever, and this. It was very thought-provoking and a nice statement on humanity from an alien's point of view. And I thought, it's like, at that point I was like, yes, Tom Baker's really got the Fourth Doctor down now. There's a moment that was pretty cool, pretty interesting also, is that even though Noah's completely taken over by the Weirin now, he still has his humanity with him, and in fact, the humans actually thought of a plan to get the Weirins onto the extra spacecraft, that was like their lifeboat, that sent them out and then blow it up. Well, the brakes were on it. The Weirin were in the ship, but the brakes were on, so they couldn't, release it. So that the external devices are like, it's like if the ship goes, it's open space. And so one of the space crew guys knocks out the Doctor, because the Doctor was going to pull the last switch, and the guy knocks out the Doctor and puts him away inside the ship, inside the station. And then the last guy, in a moment of sacrifice, pulls the last brake, and the shuttle lifts away, and that guy is sucked into space and dies. But you don't see that, but it was just like, wow, that is an interesting moment of self-sacrifice from these humans. And it again shows humanity. And then the humanity of the character Noah, who's turned into a Weirin, actually planned for the Weirins to get on them. He actually led them onto the ship, because he knew what was going on. He kind of figured this was happening. And then he blew up the ship. I thought that was pretty cool. That was a nice bit of humanity. It showed that he wasn't completely taken over, and that he tried his best to save humanity. And then at the end of the story was a nice send-off, for humanity. It's like, okay, now we just need to check on Earth, to which the next story, the Sontaran experiment, begins. But I was like, okay, let's go on one more adventure. Doctor grabs his companions, and they go to Earth. And that's where the Sontaran experiment begins. But that'll be another review. I have to admit, even though with this story's flaws, I have to give this one 3.5 stars out of 5. It had some very nice set designs, some clever ideas, costumes, character, monsters. You know, it was all very well done. I have to admit, yes, again, the bubble wrap is completely cheesy nowadays, but still, I have to admit, it was something different. It wasn't completely, obviously, crap. So, yeah, there's that. And join me next time when I will review another Doctor Who story and continue Tom Baker's 7 years of Doctor Who and continue Series 12. Thank you.